It's Thursday, you know how it is, a Tech Thursday, and of course, it's a post-COVID world. Now we have Mick Davis Kwebu, who, I hope I pronounced that well, who'll be here to talk to us about branding in the post-COVID-19 era. He's a brand development strategist and growth management practitioner. It's great to have you. Welcome.
Thank you.
Branding in the post, is the world really post-COVID now, as it stands? First of all, let's start. Are we in the post-COVID era?
Okay. Well, I think using that term post-COVID was just being safety conscious,
okay,
or psychological conscious.
Okay.
Yeah. So some of us feel that the COVID pandemic has reduced to an extent.
Okay.
So I want people to always feel comfortable that I think there's hope and things are trying to get normal, but there's not technically we're still in the pandemic.
Okay.
Okay, so...
but for the purpose of this discussion,
yes,
let's look at it as though we are gradually coming out of it, which we are in some places. So let's get straight to it. So how has COVID affected the branding world before now, and how is it going to be in this era, this post-COVID era?
Okay, before now, things are normal, but after the COVID-19 pandemic, you can see that, a lot of businesses were not operational. People had to work from home. Some business had to shut down. And many things actually changed. Safety consciousness increased. Health issues were really critical. And this moved and changed consumer behavior. You can find out that you find out that most businesses that had a very good online structure were able to at least reduce the heat of the effect of it. So, but as never before, branding and growth has really changed because the customer behavior or the consumer behavior has changed. People are very more sensitive to price, sensitive to loyalty, trust, as never before. So in this case, I tend to advise, or any projects I tend to work on, I tend to advise my clients and whoever that care to listen that we are in an age that is no longer business as before. Whether you're medium or small business enterprise, you have to be very flexible and wear your innovative heart as never before. Well, I know there are some companies that are taking, steps towards this in terms of, structuring their process or their operational process and utilizing it. That is to mean you have a technology face that or your distribution or your touch points are the technology interface. For example, you have an app that actually tends to reach out to your end users or your customers, and that is advertised using the social media systems and traditional means and the rest of it. You can also have the the e-commerce section of it. You can find out that the growth of e-commerce has increased as never before, even after the pandemic.
True.
Because people are getting more convenient and comfortable using such systems. Yeah.
Will the world return to how it was pre-COVID? Will things return to how it was? Technology, branding, and all of that?
I would say no. I know that everything lies strongly or basically with consumer behavior.
Okay.
What is their reaction? So when you sit back, you tend to observe what are the consumer behavior right now. Where is the consumer behavior going to?
Okay.
So this depicts what exactly, if actually it changes or it continues. So right now,
is consumer behavior predictable?
Yes, it's very predictable.
Okay.
We have, using this Maslow triangle of needs,
of hierarchy of needs.
And hierarchy of needs. Now people are only strictly or dominantly going to the basics. Safety, food, security,
health.
because of the effect of threat, the psychological threat of crisis and health crisis and fear and the rest of it.
Okay.
So basically, any brand that wants to take advantage of this time or prepare itself for the future you have to understand how your communication mix, you know, your tone, and it speaks about safety and the basic psychological needs at this time.
At this time. So from what I get from this discussion now is that moving on from this part, in the hierarchy of needs, the most basic ones are the most important. That is what people will look out for. Like you made mention, it's quite predictable. Nobody predicted COVID, which affected, you know, the way consumer behavior, as you might want to say. So, okay, so now for people who are not tech savvy and all of that, moving in this world now, what words do you have for people like that in the post-COVID world? Okay,
well, I would say that people that are not tech savvy should they have no choice actually, because I know COVID-19 came in as a surprise, but you can see how people tend to survive. You know, there's something about humans. We have this innate nature to adapt, either by force or voluntary.
Yeah, true.
So it's not a choice any longer. If you are not able to adapt to the system, then you'll be wiped out. Okay, so it's something that you have no choice. Businesses, even no matter how small the business is, no matter how big the business is, you have to adapt to the current situation. And just like you said earlier, that are we actually in the post or actually still in the COVID? I think because we have quite a very vulnerable time and things happen so fast. Yeah, I would always emphasize that in as much as I use the word post-COVID, we're still in the midst of it. And the effect of it, or the ripple effect of this last one, the effect of it is still on and could still generate to something else. Yeah. So taking steps or measures is more like a necessity. So if you're not tech savvy, you have to do something about it in terms of adopting tech into your system.
Thank you very much. At least one thing we know, why you said it's quite predictable, is that no matter what happens, the most basic needs are what human beings are going to search out for when it comes to all of that. Thank you very much. All right, that's all. Of course, we can take on our tech segment this morning. We'll take this time out now. The first lap of the show is done. One more lap to go. Stay with us. We will be back after this recess.